In our previous video from our English series, we started the topic active and passive voice. We discussed the types, rules of conversion, and difference between active and passive voice. First, let's review a bit what we learned in our previous video. In active voice, the subject of the sentence performs the action, while in passive voice, the subject of the sentence receives the action. Then we studied that there are 5 rules of conversion from active to passive. Rule number 1 tells us that the places of the subject and the object are interchanged. The subject shifts to the place of the object, and the object comes to the place of the subject in passive voice. Rule number 2 tells us that the third form of verb is always used as main verb in passive voice. Rule number 3 tells us that the word by is always used before the subject in sentences in passive voice. Rule number 4 is about conversion of tenses, which we will study in detail in our today's video. Rule number 5 is about changing of pronouns. You can watch our previous video to see examples and have a better understanding of the rules and the difference. Now, let's start our today's lesson. Today, we will talk about conversion in present tenses into passive voice. As we have learnt about the basic structure of present tenses in our previous videos, so we will follow the same structures. First is present indefinite tense, which we can identify by the form of verb, which is first form and the use of s and es. While making passive voice from indefinite, we will use the helping verbs is, am, and are. For example, she writes a letter. In passive will be, a letter is written by her. Next is present continuous tense. The way to identify is the use of helping verbs is, am, and are, and the ing form of verb. When making passive voice of these, we will use the same helping verbs. The only difference is that we will add being with all 3 of them. As you can see here in the examples, she is eating an apple. In passive will convert to, an apple is being eaten by her. It is to keep in mind that we have to take care of singular and plural person while converting. Like in the third example, the helping verb in active voice is, are, but after conversion, is the helping verb used because of singular object. Last up is present perfect tense. The helping verbs used are, has been, and have been. The way to identify is through the helping verbs has and have, and the third form of verb. For example, she has cooked a meal. In passive will convert to, a meal has been cooked by her. This brings us to the end of our video. To summarize what we learned today, we saw the conversion of present tenses in passive voice. The point to note is that present indefinite converts into present continuous tense, while present perfect tense converts to present perfect continuous tense. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something from the video. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Also subscribe to our channel because 70% of the audience have still not subscribed to our channel. Till then, take care and stay tuned for more upcoming content.